Maybe we do that.
Good to see you. Oh yeah, that's fine. No, I'm not.
After it stops, that'll unmute. And then if you can pass that along. Pass that question.
He said pass it to you? So you want both of them? Okay. All right. Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks for your patience. Welcome to our August First Friday Property Abandonment Housing Development meeting. I think we have some new faces. We like to invite first-time visitors to introduce themselves. So if you're new and you want to say your name, tell us what you're interested in, why you're here, maybe, whatever we think's relevant, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I'm James Courier, local realtor, auctioneer, real estate investor. Your guys' meeting just popped up on my Facebook page, so I figured I'd stop by and see what's up.
Awesome, great, welcome. Are you? There's a Schroyer family that does a bunch of demolition. Are you related?
Yeah, those are my dad's cousins.
Okay, all right.
We're kind of farmers, and his cousins are demolition guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we worked with them a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for coming. Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else has been here? Okay. Well, we took the summer months tend to be a little slower because a lot of people have other plans and traveling. So we took July off, and we're firing it back up here in August. This is a meeting we've done for over 2 years now, I think. But the idea is to just create a space where we can have open dialogue about those topics and different things that connect to those topics: property abandonment, housing development, something that both issues that are very prevalent here in Muncie. Housing development, meaning there's a need for it, and property abandonment is something you see all over, especially the south and east sides of Muncie. Y'all may know that the project that we're doing in the Old West End, we've talked a lot about. One of our partners there is a group called Intend Indiana out of Indianapolis. I'll let Ashley correct me if I offer anything not correctly. Intend, Indiana started really as kind of a land bank, and then it's kind of evolved from there. And it has in-house land bank, it has now a real estate development arm, and they have what are called community development finance institutions housed in Intend with different focuses. One is on affordable housing development. What is the Edge? Is the Edge?
Edge Fund focuses on the second mortgage side, so it helps home buyers with home ownership one-on-one classes, as well as if you're looking for like a property or a home that's within like the areas that we cover, they're able to potentially provide like down payment assistance, as well as if you're a first-time home buyer just thinking about like how we can get you into your first home.
Thank you. And then the other one, which we're going to hear most about today, is called the BuildFund. You know, the land bank, you know, we've had mostly a focus on housing, which seems to make logical sense. But as our model has continued to grow beyond just kind of doing one-off kind of housing development projects and more longer-term neighborhood development revitalization efforts, there's been a need for kind of diversifying the tools that we try to employ. And so right now we are working, in addition to the Old West End, two of the primary neighborhoods are Industry Neighborhood and Whiteley Neighborhood. And one of the things that you hear when you're out talking to people is that there's a need for some support around business development, commercial development, supporting local developers in different capacities. And so as we've gotten deeper into that in each community, we've connected with other resources. And one of those is Ashley, who's the director of the BuildFund. She came to Muncie maybe, 3 months ago, and we did a little tour. We spent some time in the Old West End. We spent some time in Whiteley, met with leadership there, and then we had a big meeting at the Innovation Connector with a bunch of entrepreneurs, small business owners here from Muncie. So anyways, Ashley was really excited about that visit, really excited about Muncie. Intend is based in Indianapolis, but they're all over the state. And I'm excited that it sounds like there's some real interest in expanding here to Muncie. So without further ado, I'll pass it off to Ashley. Thank you for coming, Ashley.
Thank you for having me. Zach, for having me here today representing Intend, Indiana. Oh, go ahead.
And the top. There you go. Try the top.
I did. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you click the top one more time? Go ahead.
Well, you can hear me.
Yeah, I think the top one is through the speaker and the bottom one is.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Okay.
If you can do bottom one. Sorry. Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Well, thankfully you guys provided me with a mic because my voice has been going in and out for the past couple days. So thank you all for being a little bit more prepared than I was today. So I want to thank you all for being here today. Apologies on my tardiness. Coming from Indianapolis to anywhere these days is normally a bottleneck and the pain in the butt because they're doing traffic on every single highway possible. So thank you all, like I said, again for being here today. My name is Ashley Bridges and I am the director of BuildFund. I've been with Intend, Indiana now for 2 years, 5 months. But my background is in finance, so did a lot of retail banking prior to, over a decade plus. I'm not going to age myself today, but with that, just really excited to hear and see the development that's going on, not only just in Muncie, but throughout the state of Indiana, and the opportunities that we have, just not for small business owners, but thinking about the home ownership, as Nate alluded to, thinking about the opportunities that are out there for local developers and contractors to get involved with Intent Indiana and the projects that we're doing, like I said, not only in Muncie, but throughout the state. And I'll show some information on here as well. But before we get started, with it, how many of you all know what a CDFI is? A CDFI. So I always like to ask this question just to get a feel within the room to see like what, if you understand, because honestly before I got into Intend and like got hired on Intend, I only knew of one CDFI throughout the state. So it's always interesting to think about, you know, the traditional lender versus the non-traditional lender. So a CDFI is a community development financial institution, as Nate alluded to earlier. Our goal is to really support local businesses, and we're very mission driven. We have affordable, flexible lending. And with this, we're not the only CDFI. There's other CDFIs out here that serve the state, that serve outside of the state. And with it, I believe there's over 1,200 CDFIs throughout the U.S., nonetheless, that actually support local businesses, housing development, things of that nature. So just giving you kind of a high-level overview, and I just like to see who's in the room to understand like how far in the weeds do we have to go around understanding the CDFI space. So as I mentioned, CDFIs are financial institutions that specialize in serving low-income communities. So CDFIs were created for economic growth, thinking about those businesses that have historically gone into banks and have traditionally not been able to get lending. CDFIs were created specifically for that. So when I say we're a non-traditional lender, we're truly a non-traditional lender, and I can speak for every CDFI because everybody has to get certified with the CDFI fund once a year through the U.S. Treasury. That with this, our goal is to really focus on the communities. We're not looking at you as a number our goals are very achievable, attainable, and our goals are really to focus on those communities that have not historically been touched. Nonetheless. And I will say during this presentation, please feel free to stop me because I can just keep going and going and going and going. So if you have questions, please raise your hand. I'm all about the interactions during this time because I want to make sure that you're getting your questions answered, especially as I'm going through. As the expert, like, please stop me. So.
One real quick, if you want.
Yes.
Let's say that there's an organization that wants to start up like a youth center or what have you. I noticed there where you said build assets and attain financial stability.
Yeah.
That's something we can come to you about?
Yeah, so with it, and just to kind of touch on your question a little bit more, so what's your name? I'm sorry.
William McIntosh, I'm sorry.
All right, Mr. McIntosh, thank you. So with it, one of his question was, do we help organizations with lending opportunities, basically? So I always say that if we cannot, we also have other CDFI partners that serve the similar mission. So, but our goal is to really think about and converse with you in regarding what that looks like before we take the necessary steps to dive into like the underwriting, getting financials, things of that nature, which is not the most funnest part on the planet Earth. But with it, something that we have to do. But we do like to touch base with every business client that fills out our intake form just to ensure that you are a good fit for BuildFund. And then if not, our goal is to never say no. It's to really be like, okay, either not right now, these are the necessary tools. We'll get you introduced to some experts that help, whether it's marketing, finance, whatever the case may be within your local area. And then just really think about how we can help you build upon that and then come back to us in a sense.
So I was kind of narrowing it down to the point, man. If we got something going and we're going and we're going, but that, I couldn't help it, that part where it says to attain financial stability, that's what stood out to me, so, okay.
Yep. No, great question. So who BuildFund is? So with this, BuildFund has actually been around since 2015. So last year, excitingly enough, I was around to celebrate the decade of BuildFund being around. With this, we're a nonprofit, mission-driven community development financial institution. With this, we are devoted to really focusing on economic growth, as well as thinking about the flexible, affordable lending side of things. So when we think about the state of Indiana, we've covered and built homes in Shelbyville, Richmond. We're currently in the process of, getting ready to start building homes in Muncie here soon. South Bend, we're building 92 homes over the course of 5 years, and there's so many more different projects to come down the pipeline, Mishawaka, South Bend areas. So really just thinking about not only the fact that we're just building homes, but thinking about the workforce development side, right? Like when you think about those local subs that may not have that work coming in, like when a contractor is able to either one, obtain a loan and get a proposal, awarded a proposal, a home to build with us, like that's putting people back into the workforce and creating that workforce development. And then with us, we come alongside our Affordable Home Matters team to really think about how we can help with that bridge lending and that gap lending, which I'll touch on here in a few. But just some of the things that we help do. Yes?
Are these neighborhoods are these in urban neighborhoods, or are these in suburban, or these new homes, or are they like new subdivisions?
No, they're all urban. So with it regularly, like our land bank, our land bank does like the technical assistance side. Our strategic initiatives actually goes into the cities, begins the conversations with the cities to see if there's any vacant lots that are out there, vacant, blighted lots, any rehabilitations, and through that partnership, with the city, we then send out RFPs for local contractors to bid on. Within the bid process, from there, once we are basically awarded the lots, we then can provide accessibility to those contractors and developers who are going to be building on those lots, to say the least. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, especially when you mentioned Shelbyville about those new subdivisions, that's what I kind of was thinking, like.
Oh no, we're not in the subdivision area.
Yes.
We want to create neighborhood like stability is the goal. So we're not focused on the subdivisions at all. Yeah. So no HOA fees this way, is what I'm saying. But great question, thank you. So BuildFund's vision and mission. BuildFund envisions communities where the quality of life, access to housing, economic opportunities are not determined by race, socioeconomic background, and or zip code. So with it, as I mentioned earlier, like sometimes when you walk into a bank, the comfortability sometimes isn't always there, right? So really thinking about if you fall within like that zip code range of low income, it's like, if I go in here and try to get a loan, more than likely I'm gonna get declined, so I'm not even gonna try. So with it, our vision is to really break down those barriers, to say the least. Our mission, it really goes along with the vision, is to help businesses, underserved businesses with equitable financing. So as I mentioned, those who have historically had the door shut on them and traditional lending sides, really thinking about how BuildFund can come alongside those businesses, whether it's a technical assistance like the financial literacy scope of things, and or really thinking about, okay, well, am I ready for a loan? What does this look like? Do I have the right collateral? Am I ready to expand? So our goal is to really think about and walk you through those things. Our target markets, and we do have within like our goal range, we do have to have something there for our target market. So with it, we have the qualified census tract. So this is a part of our preliminary review at the beginning. So before, when you do the intake form From there, we do a preliminary review that involves the QCC census tract. It involves my case, and it also involves the Secretary of State just to see how long you've been in business for. But with this, the target market are low-income business owners. So when we think about low-income business owners, and I get this question quite a bit when I do these presentations, is that, okay, if I'm not a low-income business owner, then do I qualify? You still qualify, right? When you think about those subs, when you think about your employees, more than likely, a lot of them, unfortunately, if you're running your business accurately, a couple of them are probably in that low income space. So thinking about your employees as well and those who you pay on a day-to-day basis. And other targeted populations, African American populations as well. So with this, as I mentioned, this is our target market, but BuildFund serves everyone, to say the least. We just have our goals specifically around the target market piece of it. What BuildFund promotes, so business development, as I touched on earlier, we've launched, last year back in January, we launched our first cohort. And within this cohort, we had a mixture of developers, contractors, business owners looking to acquire their first commercial space and or looking to potentially go for a bid for an RFP that we've put out. So with this, we've helped them with that business development side and just really understanding like how to get from point A to point B. Whether it's through the cohort and through our pre and post technical assistance, we want to make sure that we're not necessarily hand holding, but we're at least providing those resources. With this as well, thinking about the asset and wealth building. So with this, one of the cool things about BuildFund, and I will say it, and when I first started with Intent, I was like, oh, this is real. Like, we don't run credit. Like, what place does not run credit for a loan, right? So when we think about us not running credit, we go back to some of the barriers that when you go to a traditional lender, that's one of the things that they look at is your credit. But the cool thing about BuildFund is also the fact that as we don't run credit, we're doing like a rigorous overview of your financials because we want to make sure you're financially sound to be able to pay back the loan. So it's not just us being like no right at the door just because your credit isn't there. It's really us being like, okay, if you're there and you make it past our consultation process, then we can really have that conversation about your financials and really do a deep dive to make sure that your business is ready for what's to come. And then the community economic development. So thinking about how we're reducing the barriers around the economic development side of things, so the financial barriers for property ownership. So there is a large percentage of folks who do not own their commercial space. And commercial space, I mean, if you can get a loan for commercial space, I always say do it, just because of the fact that it's one of those things that it's generational. Like, you can have that space for years and years and years to come. If you own it, you run it, you keep it up and going right. So with it, it definitely helps with this side of the house. Job creation, as I mentioned, workforce development. Like, we all do some kind of work. We're a part of the workforce. So really helping create the job creations as well as wealth building opportunities. So we're a firm believer that if the business is successful, sustainable, then more than likely their employees, they're going to thrive at work as well. So really thinking about the opportunities that are created there. And last but not least, closing that racial wealth gap. So as we think about like walking into financial institutions, regardless of who you are, like with this is something that is near and dear to me, just because I've worked in banking for so long and I've seen so many doors get shut on so many different people within the low income communities, just because of the fact that they didn't meet a criteria or something, there was something there within like their credit score that just wasn't right. So being able to really help them as a business owner move forward, not just with their business, but with their personal side of things. So with this is our team for BuildFund. So we have our CEO, Stephen Meyer, Stephanie Quick, who I report to, who is our president. We have our Chief Financial Officer, Alex Irvin, myself, and then I actually just hired somebody new who is not on this presentation, so do not tell her that she is not on here yet. But she's our specialist who actually could not be here today, but normally is doing like the presentations and getting, like churning her wheels right now, just trying to make sure that she's getting everything done she needs to get done with, but she'll be the one doing a lot of the presenting moving forward. And then Lauren Warfield, who has assisted with just the overall processes, making things better for BuildFund and our organization as a whole. So kind of getting into the nitty gritty of BuildFund product types. So with this, we have 4 different product types. We have commercial real estate, which, as I mentioned, is more the commercial acquisition. So if you are interested in purchasing a space, whether it's expansion, whether you've been in this space for 5 years and you're like, okay, this is really bothering me, the fact that I've done all these updates and I'm still paying for a lease that at the end of it I'm gonna have to re-sign, and if I don't re-sign it, that new business owner is gonna reap the benefits of all of my updates, because you can't take the updates with you. So with it, really thinking about the commercial space and how you set yourself up for that generational wealth. The eligible uses for the commercial space are acquisition, construction, commercial rehab. So I will tell you a quick story here around a gym owner in Indianapolis, or really in Noblesville. So with this, she came to us back in 2024 when I first started. It was a new build for commercial acquisition. She bought the land where the plot was, and was like, okay, I want to build my own gym and we were like, all right, like, how does this even work? Like, it took us 1.5 years nonetheless to close. Just because of the city of Noblesville and all the things that we had to go through, zoning, the build, the inspections, all of that once everything was up. But nonetheless, she was able to actually close with her new space, and beforehand she was paying roughly around $2,800 per month for the space that she had been leasing for 12 years. 1,000 square foot. Like literally a box where she was having people come in, she's training every 30 minutes, she has somebody new coming in. So just imagine it being in a 1,000-foot square space with 5 other people sweating, working out, all that great stuff. Nonetheless, when we were introduced to her, her vision, her mission, her goal was to really own her own space, regardless of what that looked like. So with this, she was actually able to build through BuildFund her own gym. With this, it was upstairs, downstairs. So upstairs, you walk upstairs and there's like the TRX ropes and all that stuff. Downstairs is more the weight equipment. But thinking about taking that business owner from 1,000 square foot to roughly around 2,000 square foot, which doubled her size, which means doubles her capacity, which means doubles her income. So really thinking about those components of it as a business owner, to say the least. With this, our rates are regularly prime plus and or prime minus. I get a lot of questions around this, and particularly prime is at a 6.75 as of today, from what I know. So recently the highest that I've closed this year on a loan, I think was like at a 7.25. The lowest rate was at a 4.25. These rates are really genuinely unheard of these days, just because when you go into a bank, it's prime plus 5, prime plus 6, prime plus 7, just based upon credit, personal guarantee, things of that nature. So I like to highlight that as well. But moving on to the next product, so equipment. So when we think about equipment, we think about business expenses, inventory, and build out. So I don't know if you all are familiar with Ash and Elm Cider Company. Raise your hand if you are familiar with Ash and Elm Cider Company. They have cider throughout the state of Indiana, recently expanded into Ohio here. With this, we were able to provide them equipment to continue on with their expansion of their business, to be able to now be in Ohio. So just some of the things that we've done, I like to highlight for each product. Tenant improvement. So when we think about the tenant improvement side of things, if you own a commercial space, you're able to basically white box that space out and put a business owner in there, and then we assist along the side of that. So you could have your own commercial space, white box it out, and then lease it out to a small business owner, however that looks like for you. And then we also have BuildSmart. So BuildSmart is a loan that we provide to developers and contractors throughout the state. With this, we have partnered with our Affordable Home Matters team for some of the projects that we're doing. So as we're thinking about, and as Nate mentioned earlier, how we're going to be building in the Old West End neighborhood, thinking about, okay, am I a local contractor, am I a local developer, and how can I continue on with my cash flow? What does that look like? So we do provide loans or opportunities to get a loan as we're thinking about the affordable homes that are going up here in Muncie. But alongside that, we also just offer loans to developers and contractors just in general up to $200,000. With this, we've provided a plethora of different loans underneath that scope of work nonetheless. So these are some of the AHMI and BuildSmart projects. These are a little bit dated. Just as I mentioned, my new staff is not here, and neither is these updated photos, but these are some of the work that we've done. This was in Shelbyville. Contractor DMR and Revive Urban were builders for both of these properties. I believe they both sold already in Shelbyville, which is really exciting. But if you look at the quality of work and you think about the word affordable, like we still make it very affordable for these contractors when they are applying for the bids and going through that process of it. But looking at these homes, would any of you guys think that this was affordable, or would you think that this is just market rate? Market rate? Yeah, these are affordable houses that we build at Intend. So when we think about the neighborhoods that we're currently going to be building in here, just thinking about the products thus far that we've done. And as I mentioned earlier, we are building 92 homes over the course of 5 years in South Bend. With this, we have recently provided loans to J&E Properties, Inner City Development, as well as Reliable Roofing and Construction. These were some of the first homes that were actually built out of the 92. So with this, we still have quite a bit to go. This is only our second year building. So with it, we are currently, I believe, roughly around 20 to 30 homes built in South Bend so far year to date. I could be a little off there with the number, but I know that we've built quite a few homes in South Bend, to say the least. And as time goes on, if you ever are in the South Bend area, travel on Lincoln Way West and you'll be able to see the development there. It's the neighborhood, it's not a subdivision, it's truly a neighborhood that has been vacant, blighted, for decades. And the fact that we were able to partner with the city and then move forward with partnering with those general contractors, not just for the bid side of things, but also for the lending side of things, has truly been something to see and something to watch and witness over time. So as I mentioned, these are what I'll get ready to go through here is the current portfolio. So this was a new build, a Build Smart loan that we provided to a woman-owned real estate company. She built this from the ground up. Her family, it's a family business to say the least. So her uncle has all these different people, all these different subs on deck, ready to help build. She actually passed her first inspection with flying colors, and still is continuing to build in the Riverside area now through Build Smart. Exponential equity. So he actually went through our cohort, and one of the cohorts that we had really took the time out to really understand his financials, really understand like, hey, this is going to be a process. And truly like believed in the process, believed in what BuildFund can do. And by the end of the day, he was actually able to purchase his family home, renovate and rehab that family home and sell it for, I think it was a $22,000 profit following that. So, I mean, as time goes on, this was a loan that he was like, I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to do a loan, but with it, he was able to actually see what that looked like. So it was really cool to watch that. CNA contracting, they focus on lead abatement. Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a question. So we have a lot of contractors around here who are like just sort of a guy in a ladder. Do you provide any kind of training to help folks figure out like a business plan or how to grow with the money, or is it just you have to kind of be at that place before you apply for the money?
Yeah, so you kind of have to be at that place, but I think with it kind of to that point, thinking about like if that is a need here in Muncie, that you're seeing like, okay, well they may not have their financials in order, we can always assist them and by being a resource to them. So if they send over their like financials and we're like, okay, well this may not be all the way good, but with it, if you did X, Y, and Z, we could still kind of help them navigate through the process.
And it would be you to get that?
It would be myself. We have a third-party underwriter that assists us, as well as I have a specialist, and we'll soon hire a portfolio manager that will focus on those as well.
And that's more so for the financials to get the loan and less so like a business plan or like just some like information about professionalizing or getting more serious?
So we have resources that I can provide, like partners that we actually are alongside with. A lot of them will do like virtual calls. So as I mentioned earlier, like we have a cohort that's going now where the experts come in and they speak to these individuals just in regarding like their finances, the marketing, like how they're scaling their business, like. And there are local businesses coming to speak with local businesses, so it's not like they've never been there before, and that's the cool thing about it. So to your point, we can help provide experts to those contractors and or developers that are looking to potentially scale.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Yeah.
What does the secondary market look like for your loans?
So can you repeat that question? I'm sorry.
You sell your loans on
Oh no, we don't. Yeah, we hold them. Yes.
retain the servicing?
Yes, we do everything in-house. So the only thing that we may do outside is the underwriting piece of it. And we let all of our clients know that we're gonna have to get our third-party underwriter involved just based on like if there's a little bit more criteria that we may need, or based on the amount, like I mentioned with the products, depending on the products too, like there's a lot of things that the underwriter may see that we may not. That's the only thing that we do secondary. Everything else is housed within BuildFund and Intent.
And how does your default rate compare to a more traditional institutional lender?
Great question. So our default rate actually is at a 4%. But with it, we do work with the businesses that are currently in default. So we try to, the portfolio is made up of contractors, developers, folks that have done commercial acquisition, equipment loans, daycares, gyms, things of that nature. And with it, we try to do touch points at least quarterly to make sure that the business is running well. Just because as of right now, I know the market is kind of in an uproar just based upon like the cost of materials, even commercial acquisitions. I mean, once upon a time you could go purchase a commercial acquisition for like 200,000, white box it out for like roughly around 150, and now it's like 800,000 because of the fact that there's been so many like outside investors coming in to like purchase these and like resell them for like a higher profit. But with it, we try to make sure that to answer your question at hand, we try to make sure that we're following up and really cultivating and building that relationship within the portfolio. So that way, if something is to happen, we can at least provide that flexibility. So whether it's a 90-day, like, hey, I can only do interest payments for 90 days. Or I need to defer it for a little bit longer. As long as they have that open communication, we're normally good with that. No problem. And this is Fit Chicks. This is the gym that I was just talking about, actually, the gym owner. So she waited it out for a good year and a half with us, but we finally made it to the closing table. And she has not done her ribbon cutting yet just because she's still transitioning from one space to another. But with it, I know that she's done her soft launch, and her soft launch was to literally get more people in the door. And I know last time I talked to her, her books were full for the remainder of the year. So just really exciting to see the growth and expansion and being able to help her along the way. And this is Ash and Elm Cider Company. So we've actually provided them with 3 different loans. So with this, we help them purchase their distribution center. We helped basically with tenant improvement. So this is their Indianapolis location right here. Down here, where we're setting, that is actually their Carmel location where we did the equipment loan at. So when we think about the expansion for business owners, whether it's contractors, developers, and or entrepreneurs, thinking about, okay, what does that look like for expansion? So we sat down with them multiple times to have conversations around what expansion and success looks like around their business. So this is our process. So as I mentioned earlier, we don't run credit. So the 4 things that we look at, we look at the qualified census tracts to make sure that you're within the qualified census tract, as well as looking at Secretary of State, making sure it's active, seeing how long you've been in business for. BuildFund's sweet spot is 18 months of being in business because we want to be able to see your historicals. And what I mean by historicals is tax returns. We want to be able to see past bank statements. If you've had past profit and loss statements, we want to be able to look at all those fun things that we have to look at in order for you to get qualified for the loan. And then we also look at your My Case. So if there's anything active, anything pending on your My Case, any like felonies that are like, okay, teetering on the fence, we will have a conversation with you around like, hey, you need to clean this up, or unfortunately we're not able to provide a loan to you due to X, Y, and Z. But it's rare and far-fetched and few between that we have to tell somebody like flat out no, but we at least try to give them the necessary tools to go fix whatever it is that is out there pending before they come back to us again. So those are some of the things that we look at to qualify the business. From there, we schedule the consultation. So what the consultation consists of, it's a 35-minute window where we want to hear about your business. We love talking about BuildFund, but we want to hear about you, how you heard about us, but also hearing about the business, where you are. A lot of the times I've been in the business for so long that I can grasp some of the context comments when folks are speaking to me about like, hey, like I'm looking for equipment, but like it's just like a broom, a mop, things of that nature. And I'm like, well, we can't collateralize that, unfortunately, so we're not able to move forward with that. But if we're going to move forward with something else, something a little bit larger, how can we help assist you with those things? So during that consultation, that's when we either basically qualify you to move forward to the application process, or we're like, hey, let's refer you to a CDFI partner that best fits what you're looking for at that time. So with the application process, we release the application, you fill it out. From there, we ask within the consultation actually for like all these business documents. So once we release the application, that's when you upload all these business documents into that application. We send it over to the underwriter, or we do the underwriting in-house. We do the evaluation in-house just to make sure everything checks out with the business, and then we take it to our internal committee, which our internal committee consists of our leadership team, who then is like, yeah, we need a little bit more information, we're gonna table this, or yes, we're gonna go through with it to the loan committee. So it's very untraditional, because normally you would send it to underwriting would be like yes or no, and then you're done from there. For us, we actually take it to an internal review, which is our internal committee. And then they'll let us know like, hey, yeah, you need to go back and get some more information from this business client, or this is good to go to the loan committee. So the loan committee then consists of CFO, attorneys, those in the banking industry that are experts within the commercial space and or small business space that are like, okay, poking holes through it. So we create a narrative for that specific ask or request that then goes to both the internal and the loan committee. From there, we send out the offer if approved. If not, then we're like, okay, well, hey, you may not be a good fit for us, or hey, let's table this. But send out the offer and approval, loan acceptance and or denial, and then we sign the loan documents and kind of go through that process. The process normally takes roughly around 30 to 90 days, pending on the documents. So it's really up to that business owner and or developer or contractor to get those documents into us as soon as possible to help get them to the closing table. But this is why, partially, like why we don't run credit. Because if you look at this laundry list of items, you're gonna be like, okay, do I have this? Do I have that? Do I have this? Do I have that? Just to get you ready for the underwriting phase and the underwriting process. So if you want to take a snapshot of this, I will be sending this presentation over to Nate and Zach as well, just so that way you all have it. But with this is really just to get you prepared and ready for the loan, nonetheless. So the pre-loan technical assistance. So businesses seeking funding from BuildFund within a 6 to 12 months range. These are just some of the experts that we can provide information to that we have in our Rolodex. But anytime, any of the businesses that we serve, we want to be able to provide that pre-technical assistance to get you ready. So as I mentioned earlier, if you don't have a profit and loss statement, you don't know what that is. I had a client who had been in business for 5 years, and he was like, Ashley, what's a pro forma? And I'm like, it's okay, it's projections. I had to learn the hard way as well. So really understanding that, you know, our jargon, just because I work in the finance realm, does not mean everybody is familiar with that. So really breaking that down as well on some of the things that you need, because you may have it and not know that you have it. So our post-technical assistance is a little bit different. So this is after the loan closes. So really thinking about how your business grows. So that's why we do those quarterly check-ins, helping maintain the business, the succession planning. What does that look like, and transitioning from us to a traditional bank. Now, a lot of our borrowers do not love to leave us. Our rates are great. We answer the phone when they need us, all that great stuff. But we do have great bank partners that are privy to what we do, who serve the communities that we serve, and that are just as much interested as we are in you. They will do the exact same things, sometimes a little bit better than us, but with it, we try to get you ready for that as well. So these are just some of the workshops that we've done over the course of the past couple years that I've been with BuildFund. So with it, we did financial literacy classes at one point in time, but then realized that financial literacy was just not where it was at 110%. So the room was like very small, two, three business owners, sometimes at a time, if not less. So with it, we stopped doing those and really just focused on doing and being in rooms with where our partners like Muncie Land Bank have allotted us to come and be a part of. So thinking about the business-to-business networking, so as I mentioned, BuildFund is not the only community development financial institution that wants to help business owners. We do have Bankable, who's located in Anderson. We have BOI, who is located in Indianapolis. IFF serves the entire state, including Chicago, Michigan, and Ohio. LISC Indianapolis, there's a LISC National that actually serves nationally, so every state has its own LISC to help with lending opportunities, technical assistance, loan readiness opportunities. Sci-Fi, they assist with the startup businesses, and then of course us. So with it, these are the CDFI partners that we work alongside with, that we're able to provide the referral over to if you may not be a good fit for us nonetheless. And then as Nate alluded to earlier, these are our initiatives. So we do have 4 different initiatives underneath our antenna umbrella. And with it, I feel like Nate said it best earlier. I mean, it's housing development. We start with the Renew Land Bank. We go from Renew Land Bank to housing development. From there, we go to the Edge Fund side. And then BuildFund kind of sits on its own little island as a small business lender, but we're able to assist in all avenues and whatever that may look like. So thank you all again for your time today. My apologies on my tardiness. Hopefully this was well worth the wait. With it, if you have questions at all, I gave everyone at least 2 business cards. I give out 2 business cards just in case. You may lose one, you have another one that you will find. So with it, thank you all again for your time. Nate and Zach, I appreciate you guys allowing me to be here today. And once again, apologies for my tardiness. So thank you all. Any questions before?
I was gonna ask, I know Mr. McIntyre asked, so here in Muncie, there's a need for like community centers, and it doesn't sound like BuildFund necessarily match with something like that. But I'm just kind of a random, a larger question about the CDFI. I mean, as I understand it, you all are getting money. One of the major sources from the U.S. Treasury. Okay.
Yeah, so for us at BuildFund, I know a lot of the funding that CDFIs do get is federally funded. For us, BuildFund actually has its own pot of money to where that's why it's so important for borrowers to pay us back, because we actually utilize that kind of as our internal revolving loan fund. So every time someone pays us back, we're able to provide more loans based upon like the interest. We're able to keep our employees happy and all that great stuff based upon the revolving of folks businesses being able to pay us back on time. So for us, it doesn't necessarily affect us. But I know for other CDFIs throughout the state and even throughout the U.S., it has affected them just because of the fact that it's been crazy up here. in the U.S. Treasury Department.
Yeah,
So.
I guess I just wondered, is the funding that is funneled through the CDFI, is it always something that is, you know, there's a mechanism to recoup that, or sometimes can it just be a capital investment? Is that something that sometimes CDFIs can do? Like those funding opportunities come around every once in a while, and there is an opportunity to tap into something that's not necessarily tied to some kind of loan agreement. Or,
Yeah, so kind of to answer your point, let me know if this answers your question. So with it, we partner with cities a lot of the time where they'll create like a revolving loan fund for BuildFund for the technical assistance and resource space. So with this, I would be able to give an example, but I can't think off the top of my head right now. But with it, if the city is like, okay, we want to give BuildFund like or intend $2.5 million in a revolving loan fund to be able to provide to the Muncie community. With this, we partner with like local resources throughout the city to ensure that we're getting the resources that you mentioned. We're partnering with pretty much all community leaders to ensure that we're touching all touch points. So whether it's assisting with lending opportunities, technical assistance opportunities, we want to make sure that they're connected. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it was just an example. Did that answer it?
yeah, that's fine. I just want to float it.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Do you form those kinds of relationships, revolving loan type relationships with philanthropies or counties or other?
Yeah.
So like, have you ever done one with like a community foundation type organization?
We're actually in the workings of excuse me. We're actually in the workings of having conversations in other geographies here in Indiana around like the foundational piece, kind of what they're looking for. And I've actually gone to speak a couple times just in regarding the kind of the need of what they're wanting versus what we can provide. But yeah, to your point, we have worked and we are working with current foundations to be able to assist with that revolving loan fund.
One more. Sorry.
That was it. When we had that meeting with the Innovation Connector, there was kind of it was like a little bit of a point of tension because, one of the things that people were talking about is having problems accessing not just your traditional banking program, but something that was actually created between the Community Foundation and Prime Trust. And so even though it was a program that was supposed to be for, less bankable business, entrepreneurs, things like that, there seemed to be a gap. The work that we do is very much it's pretty community-based. And I remember when we first talked, we talked about, have you all ever done anything that's kind of like place-based, like input-based? So one thing is talking about an investment fund through Community Foundation. Have you guys ever experimented with like an actual community bank, like a neighborhood takes $250,000 and creates their own kind of framework to lend money and recruit money and their review committee and all? I mean, is that something that y'all have experienced with or had any experience with?
So we had experience doing RFP, but we did not get the RFP roughly around 2 years ago. And with it, the goal was to focus on we partnered with a couple of the other CDFIs and business development organizations within that city. Unfortunately, we did not get that one, but nonetheless, we have not experimented again with that, but that's something that I feel like if the opportunity presented itself, I feel like we'd be more than open to have that discussion, just because I know that there truly is a need here in Muncie based on when you took me on that tour, for sure. So I definitely think that there is some synergy, but I also think it's the education piece as well that people just you don't know what you don't know at the end of the day. So it's like, if we're only advertising and marketing to those within the bank, a lot of the times those are the folks that may have access to that capital, or you're not walking into the banks as much, so it's like you're not getting that human interaction anymore to really understand what they're offering. So I do think that there is a gap, not only just with education, but actually that human touch as well. Mhm. Any other questions? Yeah.
Has there been interest from land banks that renew as Help Start for any type of loan products?
Hold on, what'd you say?
Has there been interest from any of the land banks that renew Help Start for loan products?
Oh, yeah. So like when it comes to the contractors and developers who we've helped, so let's just say like in South Bend, like as we've like formed and created that land bank in South Bend, like with it, when Affordable Home Matters, like once it leaves the land bank, it funnels into Affordable Home Matters team, and then they send out like the RFPs for those contractors to be able to actually get lending from us. So a land bank actually hasn't like asked for lending, to say the least, but like there's ways around that to assist in that capacity, if that answers your question. No problem.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you. Oh, no, I'm fine.